Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Talking Nerdy podcast. I'm Aaron.
And I am Travis.
And today we're going to be talking about Star Wars.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
Specifically the two trailers that we just received this past weekend during Star Wars Celebration.
So we got our first trailer of Episode 9, which has been titled The Rise of Skywalker. And then the first, I don't know if it's so much a teaser. I would say it's like a story trailer for EA's title, Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I'd say it's a story trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole game is a story mode. They made that very clear.
Yes, they did. But before we get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. We're going to start with the movie. Movie.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and they are calling this a teaser trailer, so that implies that there will be a longer, a teaser trailer is almost 3 minutes long.
Seriously.
So I found that interesting, but yeah, so
let's talk about that.
Yeah, where do you want to start with this?
Let's start with the name.
Okay.
Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, good. I hate it.
You hate it?
I hate it.
Tell me why you hate it, Aaron.
I don't think the name fits well with the rest of the names in the franchise. I don't know. It doesn't have a good ring to it, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think for a lot of people that could be like, and again, it's going to depend on how the plot actually plays out to see if that name really fits well. But I don't know. It seems like they're like just shoving the Skywalker name in the title to let you know that like you still need to come see this film. And to really hit home that this is the finale of the Skywalker saga. And so they're just like...
a little on the nose.
I think that's just it. I think the title's a little too on the nose and not imaginative enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's gotten generally good reception as a title, but I just think it's a little much.
Okay.
I think there could have been a more simplistic name that would have done just as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about the title?
So it was a really weird situation because I was getting off of work, and one of the last things I saw on the computer was a news article for Rise of Skywalker, and I just kind of looked at it and I was like, that can't be real. Like, that can't be what they're calling it.
Right. It just seems fake.
It seems like a fan name, like a fan film,
or more like an advertisement, not an actual title. It seems like a promo. It sounds like a publicity promo. Yeah.
So I immediately was skeptical. I looked it up, watched the trailer, had the reaction that I did, and I have to say it's not the choice that I would have made.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think that I've got very mixed feelings on it right now. But what it's ultimately going to depend on for me is, one, what exactly is the role of Luke in this? 2, are we getting Force Ghost Anakin finally? And 3, does this mean that Rey is in fact a Skywalker, and it's going to be a situation where whoever Luke got jiggy with took her away because they didn't want her to have the life that he had. They didn't want her to be raised as a Jedi.
Right.
The Skywalker name at that point was kind of infamous in some ways, and just I don't know if it was like a whole Harry Potter situation where it's like this child will grow up and everyone will know their name, so we have to hide them or something like that.
Right.
So
protect them
I'm
from
wondering,
the name.
Yeah. And I had read that like this is going to take place a few years after The Last Jedi,
which I do appreciate that. I did see that it is not a direct continuation, and I'm happy that the story will have progressed a bit, off screen prior to the movie starting. I am looking forward to that. I think if it was a direct continuation, it just, I don't know. I think
it just makes it kind of weird,
right? Yeah,
it's almost following the format of the old trilogy,
right? Where it's like, and now the war has gone on for a while, and this is where we pick up our story.
Yeah. Like stuff has happened, and like Luke is a Jedi Master, whereas last time we saw him, he had lost his hand and was hanging off the bottom of a city in the sky.
Right. So if they're kind of doing that kind of story jump, I think that's a good start.
Yes. Like maybe this whole time Rey has been trying to track down her parents, and it's led her to the conclusion that, oh my God, Luke was my dad. And then that's when the Force Ghost appears to her to be like, yup. Like, this is news to me, but yup, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm very...
What, you mean like maybe Luke didn't know until after he died?
Well, yeah, like, because if she was taken from him when she was a child like that, like, there's no way he would have recognized her.
That's true.
You know, for all we know, whoever... Okay, and I'm getting really, like, theoretical with this. I have no idea what the movie's about.
Right.
But, like, if this is his child, like, the mom probably took off without telling him that she was pregnant.
Yeah.
Although you figure him being a Jedi Master, he could sense it or something.
But he cut himself off from the Force.
But that was years later.
Well, that's true. That's true.
He was already relatively old at that point.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, the name is circumstantial depending on the route that the story takes. And because I don't know what the story is just yet, I can't say definitively whether I like it or not.
Right.
But like I said, my first reaction was like, this is odd.
It is odd. It's an odd title. But it kind of gives us the same thing like when we got the Last Jedi title.
Yeah.
It was the whole, who is the Last Jedi? And now it's, which Skywalker are we referring to? You know, or what... You know, in this context, does Skywalker mean? So I guess there's that level to the title, but I don't know. I think we're both in agreement that it's just not what we would have expected.
Yes,
the movie to be named.
Yeah.
That being said, let's get into what we actually see in the trailer.
Yes, the visuals.
Okay. You know, I think definitely There's a lot, and I mean, just right off the bat, the bit with Rey at the beginning.
Yes. Graflex is back.
Yeah, that was interesting. I was kind of hoping, you know, I understand the importance of the Graflex to the franchise as a whole, but I was really hoping that with its destruction in the last movie, we were going to see Rey build her own lightsaber.
Yeah, like for me that was symbolic of this is the end of the original heroes.
I think
like,
that would have been a perfect ending
iconic.
for that lightsaber. Yeah.
But at the same time, like the reason they kept it and the reason her costume kind of reverted back to what it looked like in The Force Awakens is because of the footage they're using with Carrie Fisher that was taken from shooting The Force Awakens, the unused footage.
Right, and so they kind of have to redo the whole plot around those couple scenes, which is...
Or at least find a way to, like, utilize those shots in a, like... I don't know.
It's a weird thing.
It is a weird thing.
It's a weird thing.
But I'm going to be honest. I kind of like the little change that they made to it. Having that, like, black clamp on it, but still keeping that, like, bar on it. I don't know.
Well,
I've seen some fan builds already, and I like it.
They got rid of the D-ring, right?
Yeah, the D-ring's gone.
Yeah.
So that's actually, now that I'm thinking about that, I don't know how it's hanging on her belt.
Yeah, so there's got to be
maybe like a clamp,
some kind of clamp or something.
Yeah.
Man, wouldn't it be cool if just part of being a Jedi is if you just use the Force to just make your lightsaber just kind of float along next to you, so you didn't need a clip.
That would be exhausting, though.
That's true. That'd be badass, though.
Like you would have to keep.
If you're so powerful, you can just do that. You know.
I would imagine that at some point in the storylines, somebody did it.
Yeah. But, so, okay, the Graflex is back, whatever. Like I said, I really was hoping to see a brand new lightsaber that was purely Rey's, just like how we have Luke in Return of the Jedi create his lightsaber. There's this whole thing of moving past using the previous generation and
creating your own.
And coming into your own as the current generation. I kind of wanted to see that same arc for Rey.
I agree. But at the same time, like, she's definitely not a traditional Jedi in that sense.
No, she's not. And that being said, if there was going to be a new lightsaber, they could save that for future trailers.
Yeah.
She could start out with the Graflex and get something down the road, maybe.
I'm going to be honest, man. I'm kind of hoping, like, it's not going to happen because we see it very briefly in the trailer, but I was kind of hoping that Kylo Ren would have, like, a regular red lightsaber at this point.
Yeah, enough with the crossguard, man.
Yeah. Like it's still cool, and I still like it for what it is. But like, it's played out. Give me an elegant weapon.
Get over it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if he's gonna become, the Supreme Leader's dead, I want to see Kylo Ren evolve. Like,
But instead, there's that whole scene of them like re-welding his helmet and everything. Like,
yeah, and apparently, like those glowing weld lines, like I keep seeing artwork where the glowing weld lines stay present.
Oh,
Like, I don't know. There's no way he only had the one helmet. He has to have like 5 or 6 of those just like in a row.
For sure.
Because I doubt that was the first temper tantrum he would have thrown.
Yeah. Well,
whatever.
Okay, so we've got Rey having a clear throwback to Force Awakens. We've got Kylo having a clear throwback to Force Awakens.
Let me ask you this real quick, though. The planet she's on, it's a desert planet. Do we think her and Kylo are on Tatooine? Or do we think that's Jakku?
I really hope they don't go back to Jakku.
I really hope it's Tatooine.
I hope it's Tatooine. If they're going to be on a frickin' desert again...
Yeah.
At least make it Tatooine.
Yes.
You know, what would be cool, and again, this is just really out there, but if, because so many years have gone by and the Skywalkers become such a legend, if there's like this weird like Skywalker like tourism thing on Tatooine, because that's
Skywalker Ranch.
But can you imagine that if they're just like they go there and they're trying to discover the origins and there's just people.
I knew Andy when he was a little boy.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny. Just like see Luke's home and they're just like giving tours of that like burnt out little adobe house in the desert.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not gonna lie, if it's Tatooine, I would actually love if Watto made a cameo.
How old would he be? I mean, we don't know how long.
He wouldn't be flying. He'd be in like a wheelchair.
Right? Those little hover wheelchairs.
But yes,
but
I want it so bad. It hasn't been that long.
That's true.
I feel like he could have lived that long.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know how old he was in The Phantom Menace, but we also don't know how long his species lives, so.
That's true.
He could still be around. I mean, look how long Wookiees live,
Yeah, seriously.
So, yeah, that would be fun. So I do hope that it's Tatooine, and if it is Tatooine, I hope there's some nods,
Like, we've had so many original trilogy Easter eggs and nods. I want some prequel trilogy nods now.
Yeah.
I think it's time.
Yeah, for sure.
Which, okay, I don't want to get into it just yet. We'll save the last bit of that trailer for the end of this discussion.
Yes. Okay, so the rest of the cast, we've talked a bit about Rey. Obviously, some time has gone by. She's increased her level of skill, even though she does.
Poe Dameron's there looking like
Nathan Drake. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
That costume is like spot on Uncharted 3.
Absolutely.
Which is funny.
And then
hey, if they're all going to be in the desert, they got to dress the part.
Yeah, okay, speaking of being in the desert, the shot with Poe Dameron and Finn, it looked like they were on a skiff, like one of Jabba's skiffs.
It did, yeah.
Like, it's straight up. I looked at it and I immediately was like, that looks like Jabba's skiff. So, what if the Hutts make a reappearance?
Okay, hold on. This could be horrible, but just like how so much of The Force Awakens was just a recreation of A New Hope, what if this movie is just Return of the Jedi? And that's...
Oh man, I could see it. But I think probably not though, because like J.J. Abrams when he did Force Awakens was very clearly wanting to reintroduce what Star Wars is to that new generation.
Yes.
So I think this is going to be like the final departure. Like, yes, there's going to be a lot of Easter eggs. There's going to be a lot of reverence.
It has to be a unique conclusion to the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and so that's kind of what I was getting with, mentioning J.J. Abrams doing the first one, doing the third one, but Rian Johnson doing the last one.
Yeah.
And just the huge deviation from what Abrams had set up, because Johnson was like, I want this to be my trilogy, even though I'm taking this on halfway through.
Yeah. That dude can go shove it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Take your fan fiction and leave.
Right. But with so much callback in the costuming and things to the previous films and stuff, do you think that there is going to be a step back to what Abrams had been setting up, regardless of what Johnson had imposed?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw a leaked poster a couple weeks ago, actually, and I think that we're going to go back into like what the Knights of Ren are and who they are. So I think that's going to be a big element in this whole story.
Yeah.
I just judging on Kylo Ren's whole character, how he kind of has this need for approval. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of like the old Sith Empire, where it's like, I'm a Sith Master and I need subordinates so that I feel powerful.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the Knights of Ren are going to
Sure. Yeah, they're his hype men.
And now that he is more or less lost to Rey twice, I think it's going to be him sending them after her to take her out.
Yeah.
Or at least capture her so that he can deliver the killing blow.
With an unfair advantage, yeah.
Yeah, now he's physically been wounded. His pride has been destroyed not once but twice.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be a vendetta against her, similar to how it was all Vader and Luke back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
what'd you think about the new TIE Striker?
It's pretty cool.
It's all red.
Yeah.
I really dig it.
I did like that. I do like the ship design. It's it's a very shiny trailer.
Oh, yes.
And when it comes to spaceships, I like shiny.
Hell yeah.
I just hope that they don't make it too shiny to make you distracted from the lack of plot devices.
Of course.
That's kind of what the last film was.
You want to talk about ships that ain't shiny? How about those Death Star ruins?
Yeah. That's cool.
What do you think that's all about?
I mean, maybe they... Man, I don't know. Do you think something could have survived the explosion and they're trying to... I mean...
Yes.
Like a holocron or something?
A holocron? Probably. I have a... I don't want to... see, I've got a lot of thoughts. Okay.
Palpatine's
I have
body.
A feeling... Well, exactly.
Frozen
and I don't
in
mean
space.
actual Palpatine. I mean clone Palpatine.
So do you think that's the route they're going to go? Because that's the route that the extended universe went.
Exactly. I think that's what we're going to see. And I think that Snoke is probably one of those clones.
So if we saw...
I know he doesn't sound like it, but Snoke looks so messed up and unnatural. There had to have been an issue with the clone
Just a botched
process.
cloning process. Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that we're going to see some of that.
That's possible. Now,
I'm hoping.
Now, that being said, if we're going to go there with clone Palpatine, what about clone Luke?
Ooh. Oh, I see what you're referencing.
How far is too far with the clone thing?
No, because, okay, so we know that Maz Kanata found Luke's saber,
Yes.
which means somebody found the hand.
Oh, yes.
That
for
was
sure.
holding it.
Oh, for sure. Someone has it.
So maybe it's like a Doctor Who thing where someone found the hand and it's just floating in a jar and they use that to harvest the DNA. That would be really... That's a little out there. That's like Terminator kind of stuff. Oh, look, it's CG young Mark Hamill as evil clone Luke, kind of like they did with Arnold Schwarzenegger in one of the more recent Terminators.
It could still be old Luke if it has the sped up growth rate of clones.
True. That's true.
And it could be Mark Hamill, and they just give him a haircut, kind of like how they did for his force projection.
Yeah.
To make him look younger.
Uh-huh. Man, I don't know. Or what if it's like a cloned Anakin?
Okay, that'd be cool.
That would be so nuts.
Right.
Oh, God. Waking up with all those memories and feeling that rage, but not being a burnt lava monster.
Right.
Oh,
there's a lot that could happen, and we're talking. I mean, everything that we're talking about, there's not much evidence for in the trailer itself.
No,
we're going down some potential conspiracy theories here.
We're going down a rabbit hole with this.
So back to the trailer itself.
Yes.
All right, we've got C-3PO was also on that skiff or whatever barge thing.
Yeah, we got that hairdryer droid.
Yeah,
thing.
we've got BB-8's friend who just looks like the lamp from Pixar.
Yeah, Pixar lamp. Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a thing. I don't understand the need to introduce a new droid in every film.
Neither do I.
Sometimes it works.
Actually, yeah, I do. Merchandising.
Well, that's just it. So how much of this is Star Wars and how much of this is just Disney marketing deploys. That's what...
There's really no line.
There's no line, and that's what's really bothering me about this film.
Yeah.
I want Star Wars. I don't want Disney merchandise.
Yeah, you can literally resell Rey and Kylo Ren and Poe Dameron and Finn and C-3PO. People are going to buy the toys no matter what. You don't need to make new, different ones.
No, not at all.
So, I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, at least BB-8 turned out to be good, but like at the time we were like, they just created them so they could sell the little robot remote control Sphero things. But at least BB-8 ended up being a great character.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see where that goes. Who else makes an appearance? Well, obviously, there's the...
Princess Leia.
There's the
Lando.
Yes, okay, yeah. So,
oh my God, I'm so excited.
He looks good.
He does, and it looks like for his costume, they're mirroring the design from Solo.
Yeah, which is nice. He's got that
like
that
the
yellow
with the black cloak. Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's just so good to see him back on the Falcon after all these years, man.
For sure. So having Billy D. Williams back and having, like you said, his outfit being a direct nod to the Solo film.
Yes.
That's pretty nice. What do you think the role of the Falcon is going to be in this film?
I could honestly see it being something as basic as Lando shows up and he's like, I heard Han is dead. And he tries to take his ship back.
Right? And he's just like, I want my ship back.
Yeah. Like, I literally see it. I would be okay if it was something as simple as that, because then there's your comic relief. Lando's coming back to take back what's his, and at the same time gets caught back up in this rebellion struggle that he tried to leave because he's an old man now.
Right, yeah. I'd be okay with him and Chewie just flying off into the sunset, and that's the last we see.
Yeah.
This has to... This is my biggest concern about the movie, and this is why I'm not as excited as I would like to be. And again, the closer it gets, the more excited I will get. I know that. But I was not as excited as I was hoping. And it's mainly because I am worried about how one film is going to accomplish so much.
Yeah.
We have to reestablish what The Force Awakens started. We have to undo or explain what The Last Jedi did. And we have to give every single one of these characters a well-thought-out send-off.
Yeah.
Because we're ending the entire Skywalker saga. Whatever the next trilogy is, whatever the hell Rian Johnson is writing, is going to be like nothing we've experienced so far.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think if this movie is successful, his trilogy is probably going to get scrapped.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Because of what he did with The Last Jedi and the failure of Solo to capture the audience's hearts and minds, Kathleen Kennedy backtracked on so many other Star Wars projects. She's like, we're going to pump the brakes. And I don't know, do you follow Mark Hamill on Twitter?
I do.
Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's been talking a lot lately. It's kind of crazy how vocal he's been. I'm surprised Disney doesn't slap a cease and desist on him.
Right.
He's been very vocal about Star Wars fatigue and how it's setting in, and Disney needs to chill. Let the people enjoy what's there. Let the excitement kind of die down and then come up with something good instead of just throwing movie after movie after movie.
Well,
out.
And I think that's why I'm not as excited, because I'm like, yeah, okay, it's episode 9, yeah, but there's just been so much Star Wars talk. And
you got
much
Star Wars fatigue.
And there's been so many promised projects, and then they get canceled or they get changed, or, video games, TV shows, movies, whatever it may be, to the point where I'm just like, oh... I just, scrolling through Twitter. Oh, look, there's a Star Wars thing. Big frickin' whoop. I'll check back in and see in 6 months and see if it's actually going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think I'm definitely experiencing some of that Star Wars fatigue also. As children, we were always just craving more because there was so little. But because of that, we just absorbed up so much of what was given to us.
Jet going over.
Yeah. And now the more that there is, the more it's like I'm getting a little saturated.
Well, I think the problem isn't that there's more. It's that they're giving us more, but it's not quality content.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess that's really it. Yeah.
And it all kind of ties back into the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they've been so thoughtful and so passionate about what they're doing. They develop these characters, they develop these stories, they develop the world, everyone is given the time and space that they need to develop and grow and be like a real person, a real character.
Right. So even though Marvel
that people can resonate with.
Right. So even though Marvel is flooding the market, it's been pretty relevant each step of the way.
Yeah, we've got twice as many Marvel films, almost more now, than there are Star Wars films, period.
Right.
You know, and I mean, granted, some are definitely better than others, but I can't say that I've ever watched a Marvel film and been like, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed every single Marvel movie that's been made to date.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think that with Star Wars, unfortunately, after the original trilogy, it started shifting into the whole, we can just make these and people are going to pay for it no matter what.
Right.
And I think now that the original audience that grew up loving them is a little more conscious, a little more educated, we can see the problems with the product. And we're kind of like, I don't think I want to buy this anymore.
Right. And so this last film has to convince everyone that it's worth it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's why they throw Skywalker right in the name. They're trying to shove it in your face. You need this.
Yeah, like what could we be talking about?
Right.
You find out.
Exactly. It's like, you know, Sam described this. It was Force Awakens was, where's Luke Skywalker? You know, and then The Last Jedi is like, found Luke Skywalker, and then the third one is just Luke Skywalker? Question mark? But the title is like, yes, Luke Skywalker. Come see the movie for Luke Skywalker. We know you want Luke Skywalker.
But it's not necessarily Luke. It just is Skywalker.
Right. But there's his voiceover.
Wait. What are the odds that The Rise of Skywalker is referencing a child of Luke's that we have not met?
I would appreciate that.
Ooh, that could be really good.
Yeah. I would appreciate a character that we have not seen and we know nothing about, and they themselves perhaps know nothing.
And it's Sebastian Stan because he looks like him.
That'd be great.
Oh, man. Okay, so final thing to talk about in the movie trailer before we move on to the game.
Yes.
Palpatine's laugh.
Right, so after there's Luke Skywalker's voiceover saying no one is ever really gone, which, again, a little too on the nose for me, but then you get Palpatine's laugh. So it's like, not only do you get this very, like, direct in-your-face line, you also get, like, a very in-your-face explanation of what they're talking about. That being said, it is still exciting.
Yeah. Like, it's...
But, like,
the fact that, like,
God.
J.J. Abrams and Ian McDiarmid have both, like, confirmed Palpatine is in this movie.
Right.
Like, he ain't dead or whatever. He's there.
Right. He's in this movie. Well, again, maybe it's a holocron. Maybe that's a relic or something that they're finding, you know, from the Death Star ruins. Or it's a clone. Or it's like a Voldemort thing where his spirit just found a new host.
Yeah.
You know? Or he's a Force ghost. We have not seen evil Forced ghost.
Well, that's because, and granted, this is now Star Wars Legends. It's no longer canon.
Right.
But Sith Lords cannot preserve their essence the way that a Force ghost does because they kind of spit in the face of the Force.
They're not part of the living Force. They're corrupting the energy.
Exactly.
Right, so they can't preserve their matter beyond death. Yeah.
So unless J.J. Abrams is rewriting established ideas like that, which I don't think he would for something like that.
That's what the last movie did, though. But again, that wasn't
Abrams. Rian Johnson's a twat.
Yeah. So I don't think Abrams would completely rewrite established lore, especially since...
He's got too much respect for source material.
And you can't do that in the end of a trilogy.
Exactly. Of all times, this is not the time to do it.
There's not another movie. We can't have these big open cliffhangers or long-winded exposition. There's just not enough time.
So... with that in mind, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Avengers Endgame comes out next week. It is going to be 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Right. How long do you think Episode 9 is going to be?
Exactly.
Well, with Endgame being over 3 hours, because it is wrapping up this saga, this chapter, I could see a similar thing with Star Wars, because, again, they have to wrap it up.
Absolutely.
Now, how long was The Last Jedi? I felt like we were in the theater forever.
That's because it was agonizing. That movie was probably like maybe 2.5 hours.
That's true. It was
like, think about the pacing of it. That movie moves way too quickly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what? Give me a second. I need you to fill the air for a second. I'm going to go look at my Blu-ray and see what it is.
Okay.
Actually, no. Hang on. I can Google it. What am I doing?
That's right. You don't have to read the
Jesus.
box. But yeah, okay. So, now with the trailer, we do not see any new characters, correct?
Yes.
Other than that little like lamp robot.
Uh-huh. We also don't see Rose Tico.
No, but she's the actress is credited.
Yeah.
She's going to be in the movie.
Runtime's 2 hours 33 minutes.
Okay, so if The Last Jedi was 2 hours and 33 minutes, I could easily see Rise of Skywalker being 2 hours 45 minutes plus.
Yeah. I honestly, fingers crossed for a 3-hour Star Wars movie. I'm down for that journey.
I'm down for a 3-hour Star Wars movie too, especially since I think that's the only way they're going to convey the sheer amount of information.
Absolutely.
In a way that doesn't feel like the pacing is insane, you know?
Exactly. This movie cannot be rushed.
It can't. No.
It can't afford to be rushed.
But we are going to have to cover so much. They're going to have to cover what has happened in between. They are going to have to cover the Knights of Ren. They're going to have to cover the passing of General Leia. They're going to have to cover the whatever is going on with Luke, the reemergence and then theoretically re-defeat of Palpatine. They're going to have to establish an ending either by death or some kind of arc for each individual character.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh. Like, I think the problem is J.J. Abrams is going to have to do in one film what he had envisioned over a trilogy.
Yeah.
Because none of those boxes were checked off in The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. Other than Luke vanishing at the end. That's got to be the only thing that was like a big plot device for this next film. Everything else was just whatever was going on.
What if it's just like Rey goes to some planet and Luke is just like naked smoking weed and she's like, I thought you were dead, and he's like, I just disappeared, I didn't die,
right?
I'm a Jedi. Like, he just used force teleport or something like that. He never died.
Yeah, well, and I mean his robe fell, but not his prosthetic arm.
Exactly. Oh, thank you, Rian Johnson, for leaving us this loophole.
Right? Yeah. So I know that was a whole thing at the time also.
Yeah.
But, gosh.
What an idiot.
Okay, so that being said, it's still Star Wars. Are you hyped?
Yes. Absolutely I am. More than anything, I'm extraordinarily curious.
Oh, I would say I am more
so
curious than anything else, yes.
And like the trailer plays Princess Leia's theme. We see Carrie Fisher. I cried when I watched it.
Yeah.
I was in tears. So I'm very, very curious, more than anything at this point, to see what her whole deal is.
There can't be that much footage, and of the footage that they have, only just so much can be relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, any dialogue that she spoke would have been written for the Force Awakens storyline. So even if it was cut,
but like,
how do you just magically restring that in?
How often do you watch like deleted scenes for movies? Like, is that a thing that you do?
Yeah, for sure.
Because like, if you think about it, most films that delete scenes is because
it didn't fit
of
the
dialogue
context
that doesn't necessarily pertain to the rest of the film. It's not strong enough in the context of the movie that it needs to be there.
Which means it can be tastefully reinserted somewhere else. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, something kind of cool I read about the other day was for Toy Story 4, Don Rickles passed away before the movie was done.
Yeah.
But they got permission from his family, who actually also requested this, and they compiled every bit of dialogue he had ever recorded as Mr. Potato Head and created a digital library of his lines.
Well, that's amazing.
So they could recreate him. Yeah. Wow. So while Carrie Fisher probably didn't have as many lines, it's possible that they're going to do something similar. And like, honestly, I know that at first they were like, we're not going to do this, but I could easily see them doing a digital Princess Leia for some scenes.
Yeah. I hope they don't, but what they could do is she could be speaking over a comm, ship to ship, you know?
Something like that.
They could do something like that, or, you know, the whole just blue hologram.
Honestly, if there
Those
is
are all digital anyway, you know?
If there's a Leia Skywalker Force Ghost, I'm just going to lose it.
Oh, man, I didn't even think about that.
Because, like, there's enough VFX going on there that you could get away with a CG character, but her voice is so specific, especially because of everything that she's been through, you know, that it's just, that's not something anyone could accurately imitate.
Yeah.
So it would have to be her.
It would have to be. Yeah. I hope they don't push it too far, but they have to do something.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, let's transition.
Let's talk about Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order. We have a trailer, a story trailer.
Yes.
For this game. It's EA.
Yes.
You know,
it's I can't remember the name of the other company that produced it. It's the ones that did Titanfall.
Yeah.
I was talking with Brad about it earlier, but
it's a different studio.
It's not DICE that did
Battlefront. So it's a different studio than did Battlefront. It's still EA, and
yes,
you know, we had a not podcast conversation about, you know, the resurrection of LucasArts.
Yes.
Yes. And yet here it is. We have a game that's, you know, we're like, oh, maybe, you know, Disney's pulling, you know, the rights from EA. But nope, we still have EA producing a game.
The company is Respawn Entertainment.
Respawn. Okay.
Yes.
But
and this looks like it takes place almost immediately after Revenge of the Sith.
Yes. So here's okay. I guess my biggest excitement is, when it is taking place. This is, I mean, it's Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order, but it's right after, or relatively right after, Order 66. You know?
It has to be soon because, like, there's that shot of the main character, the Jedi, walking up to like a dead stormtrooper or something, and he finds the holo recording of Sidious calling for Order 66.
I thought that maybe that was on Utapau.
Okay.
The clones that were with Obi-Wan, but I don't know. They could be anywhere. You know, there was a lot of Jedi that fought back and killed a lot of clones.
For sure.
But so I'm excited to be exploring that era from a video game aspect. There is, you know, going back to the original Battlefront 2, if you're playing the story mode, you do play through the whole Order 66 thing.
Yeah, with the whole 501st Legion.
Yeah. And so, you know, that era, and that video game was canon for a while. And so that was kind of
in my heart, it still is.
It's still canon, but because at the time, and even still to a degree, that was really the only thing that was bridging the gap between Episode 3 and 4 was that story mode in that game. And then, of course, the Force Unleashed and all that, and then Rogue One, you know, bridging the gap too. So we're kind of filling in some of the dead space between the films. And now we have a modern game that's going to add even more to that.
Yes.
So that excites me immensely.
It's 20 years or so. So there's a chunk of time there.
So much could have happened. And I know there's the whole Star Wars Rebels show, and I have not seen Rebels, but...
well, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like 20 years for an empire to take over, that's pretty quick for a galaxy.
That's pretty quick, But the reason they move so fast is because the Republic already covered that. So it wasn't so much the Empire
voted for it.
It wasn't so much the Empire taking over as it was just a conversion of the Republic.
Yeah, the groundwork had been laid, and then it was just executing.
Yeah.
Order 66.
Yeah, basically. So that's cool to see this young guy. Do you think he was a Padawan? Or do you think he was just a young Jedi?
I think he was a young Jedi. Maybe a knight, obviously not a master.
No,
but
for
not
sure.
Older than a Padawan.
Yeah. He seems like a 20 something. Like he's not a child,
Yeah.
Now, this is it's just funny because the way they presented this game with the whole no microtransactions and no, we're not going to add them later, and here's a story for all you shitheads that wanted a story. Like
very aggressive.
Aggressive about it to the fan base. And I wasn't too crazy about that, as excited as I am for the game. Basically, to get what we should have had in the first Battlefront game, you will have had to have purchased 3 video games.
Yep.
That is almost $200.
Yeah.
If not more.
Well, and here's something I was talking with Brad about earlier that I had not considered, is the fact that they said no microtransactions.
Yeah.
That means there will be no in-game currency. There will likely not be cosmetics to choose from.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're not going to charge you an arm and a leg for DLC.
Oh, there's probably still going to be a DLC and
there's
a
probably going to be
pass
expansions.
And and it's going to be added missions or side quests or
absolutely.
Yeah, no, that for sure.
Different colored lightsabers, different force powers.
Now, and here's my only gripe, I guess you could say, because I am very excited based on the trailer, and I am really excited for not just a story mode, but a full-blown story game.
Yeah.
Like when they were doing, the licensed games based on the films, or, back when they were doing, the Force Unleashed and stuff like that.
Yes.
But I really wish, and again, this may be a feature, but probably not, because it really seems that the character that you see in the trailer is the character you're going to play.
Absolutely.
I really wish that you would be able to create your own character.
Dude. Well, and I'll tell you what.
Then you could be whatever Jedi you want. You can any alien. I mean, it's a white human male.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
Yeah.
It's Star Wars, man.
The whites are at it again.
Like I want to play as like some blue dude or whatever,
Yeah.
Man.
But here's something to look forward to, though. With LucasArts coming back, I have heard a lot of rumors that they are going to do another Knights of the Old Republic game.
Now
they're going to do a Knights of the Old Republic 3.
Ooh.
So potentially carrying on the story of Darth Revan and all that jazz
in
the olden days.
Yeah. See, that'd be cool.
I
love the Old Republic era.
I do think it would have been cool if at the very least you could have chosen between a boy and a girl.
Yeah. And again, this was just a cinematic trailer.
Yeah, this is
we don't know any details of the actual gameplay.
Absolutely.
So you may have character creation options, and they just picked a very generic person for the sake of a launch trailer.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Probably not, would be my guess. It's EA.
Yeah. I just, at least, to the credit of Battlefront 1 and 2, they were what they were, but at least you could unlock different races, different genders, different outfits.
Yes.
Even though you're just playing multiplayer, your dude could look however you wanted them to look, as long as you had enough in-game currency.
Yeah.
There was a lot of options, and that was nice. That was nice. And so, they're advertising as, for those of you that wanted, it's like for those of you that ever wanted to be a Jedi, you can be a Jedi, but it's like you can be a Jedi, or you can be this Jedi that you're telling us that we have to play. Because the story can unfold the same way no matter who you're playing. That doesn't change the story. It just, you will be more invested in your character going through these trials and tribulations if you get to choose who you want to be.
That's something that I feel like we lose from so many games, is like creating that personal element, making your character look like you, so that you can kind of immerse yourself in the gaming experience a little more. Right.
Or be the gender or race or outfit that you think is cool. Like,
in general, it's the immersion factor.
Right, like an MMO. But I mean, in with video games today, with what you can do with a game, you should be able to do that with almost any game.
Absolutely.
Now, I understand certain franchises. Obviously, you have your hero or your heroine, and that's who you play. Like, obviously, not every single game needs to have a character customization thing, character builder. But for this to be what is the first of, I mean, it's probably not going to be a series. This is probably a standalone game. So
that would be my guess.
So
because
it makes sense for you to be able to be a little bit more picky and choosy with your character.
Personally, I think this game is going to be make or break for EA as a company.
Oh man, I thought the last one was make or break, and they.
No, because it's like at that point, it's like, here's your chance for redemption. You gave us a crap game, give us something better. But now they've given us 2 crap games in a row. And this is also their first shot at giving us a story-driven Star Wars game. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you cannot listen to the constructive criticism that people have been literally screaming at the top of their lungs for the last almost 5 years now,
right?
You don't deserve to produce these games.
No, for sure.
Which, as we see, is why LucasArts is back.
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, just EA has developed a really nasty reputation. And if they screw up another game that a fandom as powerful as the Star Wars fandom...
Oh, yeah, that's it, man.
Like, yeah, it's game over, man. It's game over.
Right? Yeah.
So I guess what are you... Is there anything in particular you're hoping will happen in this game?
What I... And this might sound weird. I'll try to phrase it right. I really hope that there are 0 references to anything that we've come to know, through the films. I want this to just be an independent...
Good luck.
I know. But I really want this to be an independent story. Not everybody has to have some connection to the Skywalkers or some connection to Yoda
Force,
or Obi.
Aaron.
Yeah. The Force brings people together, whatever. But, I really just want this to be about the struggles of this one guy.
Yeah.
Now, that being said...
Yeah.
I would love if he met up with Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's why I wanted to get out
yes
first what I would like to see, and then knowing that is pretty much an impossibility. I
would not say so at all.
Well, I mean,
because if it's very close,
an impossibility for them to just completely leave everything else out is what I meant.
Yeah.
So
okay.
With that being impossible, there's going to be references. There's going to be crossovers. I want Obi-Wan Kenobi to mentor this guy.
I honestly think that there's going to be crossovers to Star Wars Rebels. We see these Sith Inquisitor looking characters that look a lot like the Inquisitors in Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
And I think that would actually be a cool way to connect those movies to everything. Or those shows, rather. Yeah,
that TV show is still kind of just sitting out in its own, it hasn't been fully integrated by the fan base just because it's Disney XD.
And it definitely has a following, and I've seen a couple episodes, and I do like it. It's a good show.
I know it's a good show, yeah. I just haven't gotten around to it because it's just not on my radar. Not the way Clone Wars was. That was
for sure.
Clone Wars was the shit.
Oh yeah.
And I know,
and we have that new season coming out too.
Right.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, and there's the Mandalorian coming out.
Have you seen the pictures for that?
I have. Yeah.
The new photos they released.
Yeah, the armor's cool.
There's a whole lot coming out for Star Wars fans.
There is a lot coming out. And Disney's streaming service launches at the end of this year, right? So.
Yep.
That's going to be one of the headliners. There's a lot. And, to go back to what we said earlier, there's a fine line between oversaturation and giving us what we want.
Yeah. Or at least giving us something we'll enjoy, even if we didn't necessarily want it to begin with.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. For me, there's no such thing as too much Star Wars if it's good Star Wars.
Yes, 100% agree.
But if I don't like it, then it's too much. Yeah. Well.
So, man, all right, we've talked about a lot.
But there was a lot to talk about.
This is true, and I feel like there's still more, but definitely don't want this to go too long.
Yeah, for the sake of the podcast, and we can always have a follow-up discussion as more details come
Absolutely.
out. If we get a
Absolutely.
full trailer or if we get some gameplay footage from the game, I would be happy to talk about it a second time.
Come E3, I guarantee you we're going to get some gameplay footage.
For sure.
And EA
I
would
think-
do well to give us a demo, a playable demo
Oh my god, yeah.
for Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
There aren't enough demos anymore.
No, everything is just, we'll make it a beta just to excuse our mess.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
what a
give us a
joke.
demo. Give us a playable demo. And, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then we can tear it apart, and then you can fix what's wrong.
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
Right? So, that being said, thank you for listening, everyone.
Yes, thank you so much.
What are your thoughts for episode 9? What do you think of the title? That's how we started this podcast off.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of the title?
think of the title? And
Is Jedi Fallen Order just going to be a redo of Force Unleashed, but for the light side? I'm worried about that.
yeah,
but,
yeah, that's a possibility as well.
I'll wait and see. I'll be patient.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.